God is good.
Alright, so I'm here to share what God's done in my life. And there are three things that are in the Bible that I want to particularly focus on. So like, the first thing is that God works in mysterious ways. I learned that in this past year. And the second one is that if you train a child in the way of the Lord, he will not depart from it.
Amen.
The third one is, what was the third one?
Everything.
Nah, it was,
It will come.
I'll get back to it. I'll tell you guys later.
Amen.
So basically, oh no, nothing in this world is above God. Like, yeah, he has powers. So basically, you guys know when I was young, I used to love the Lord a lot, and I was brought up in a really good Christian household. I went to a Christian school, and yeah, I knew a lot about God, but then when I became a teenager, I started straying away from the path a little bit. I started getting a little too far from God. Yeah, I started to doubt that he was real. I didn't really understand it, a lot of the stuff in the Bible. And when I didn't understand anything, I just assumed that it couldn't be real. And I just pushed him away. I decided that he wasn't real. I didn't want to think about it at all. And without God, once I pushed him away, everything just started getting worse. Eventually started smoking a lot. I was smoking weed. I started about 10th grade. I used to do it all the time, every day, just about. And once I started, it was so hard to stop. My grades started slipping. I started losing so much money. I ruined my relationship with my parents. Nothing was good. Nothing was good. I just felt sad all the time. And I felt like I couldn't leave it at all. I felt like I needed to leave. I went into college, and I made a friend. His name was Kamar. And he liked smoking just like me. And one day we smoked together, and from that day, we smoked every day together. We had a ritual. It would be like we'd smoke, and then we'd go back and play pool. You work at pool, you know that a lot of kids there smoke. A lot of kids there. If you go to the basketball court, actually, you'll just find a lot of little roaches. That's what we call little blunts on the ground. They'll just be over there. Yeah, it's not a pretty sight. But so we'd smoke, then we'd go play pool all the time. I beat him a lot, and he'd always come back for me to beat him again. And then school ended, and it was break time, but I still wanted to beat him in pool, so I told him that at the mall that's near our house, there's some pool tables, and I was like, you might as well come. We could smoke, and then we play some pool. I'll beat you a few times if you want. So we started going there, and then once we were at the mall, one day we ran into his friends, and his friends were there, and I heard them talking about some kind of candy, some Skittles or something like that, and I didn't understand what that meant. I was like, why are you guys talking so much about Skittles? And he was like, I'll tell you, I'll explain to you later, I'll tell you. So we left, and then later he started telling me that when he was in high school with his friends, every day after school they used to smoke, and then they'd get these cough and cold pills. There were these cough and cold pills. They were at CVS. There's normal pills. You don't even have to get a prescription for them. It's like allergy medicine. But if you take them in a large quantity, they can get you high. You took one, I was like, he told me that they used to take like 8 at a time, and I was like, I don't think that's safe. And then he was like, no, we know somebody that took 52 at one time, and they were still okay the next day. And I was like, maybe not, but what if I just try one? And he was like, they're just normal medicines. If you take one, it wouldn't even get a baby high. And I was like, all right, I mean, if they just sell them there, they can't be that bad. So he also told me that if you take them and you smoke weed with it, it'll take you to a place called the Fruganoff. That's the title they gave it to him. They gave it to the place. He said it was that serious they had to make a name for it. So one day, the next day I took 8 of them. And I went to sleep. I didn't feel anything. He told me it's supposed to take an hour to kick in. I was in my bed waiting to feel something, and I got tired. I just went to sleep. Then the next day I was like, that didn't count. Let me try it again. So I tried 16. I tried 16 this time. And an hour later I felt it, and I was like, whoa, this is hitting a part of my brain that the weed never hit. And I was really high. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then The next day, it was okay. Then the next day, I was like, man, that was cool. I think now I want to go to the Fruganov, whatever you were telling me about. So the next day, we met up at the mall. We each had 16. Then an hour later, we went to a parking garage and we smoked. And at that moment, I was higher than I've ever been in my life. And we got in the car, and I was so high in the car. And then, this is what I remember. He asked me, he said, how did you get here, Sonny? And when he said that, I looked around, and I came to the conclusion that I was dead. Like, I didn't see anyone there. And then all I saw was fire, just fire all around me, and I could feel the fire. Like, I really felt like I was burning. And I could see it so clearly, fire all around me, it was surrounding me. And all I could hear in my ears was, this is Sonny's sin, this is Sonny's sin. And I kept thinking, I was like crying, I was thinking, I wish I would have listened to my mom all those times she told me to stop smoking. I was like, I'm in hell, now I'm gonna burn here for eternity. And then everything just went black. I didn't see anything, there was nothing there. And then, while everything was dark, a glowing cross came out of nowhere. There was just a glowing cross, that's all I saw, and it cut through all the darkness that was there. All the darkness. And right after that, I was sitting right back in the car with my friends, and I said, the first thing I told them after that was, yeah, that motivated me to never smoke ever again. And that was 31 days ago, and from then I haven't smoked at all. I actually bought a chain. This is the cross that saved me, I believe. From that, I really believe that I was reborn that night. Because I have not been the same since then. I prayed that night, I asked God, I said, please don't take me back. I don't want to go back into my ways of smoking. That night I talked to him. From then I started praying every night. And I had no doubt in my mind that God was real after that. In the coming days after that, it was about...
the heaven?
Oh yeah, there's another part. It was like, when we got back in the car, I was like, yeah, that motivated me to never smoke again. And then we walked into the movie theater, I bought myself a ticket, and I was so happy. I was happy that I got out of that hell that I was in. I was like, oh, I'm so happy. I thought the movie ticket I had, I thought it was a ticket to heaven. And I walked into the movie theater. I gave the guy the ticket. I thought I was walking into the gates of heaven. I was so happy. And one of my friends who worked at the movie theaters, he walked up to me. I was so happy to see him. I was like, Josh, you're here too? And he was like, yeah, I work here. And I thought, me thinking that it's heaven, he said he worked here. I was like, you're an angel? I thought he was an angel.
But I'm following. So you told them where this ticket came from?
The movie theater. I thought it was a ticket to heaven.
Remember the prayer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the ticket that I saw, when I got that ticket, I didn't think that I was good, but I remember that I thought it was a ticket that I got from my mom because my mom prayed for me all the time. And I knew that she was always praying for me. I was like, this is a ticket that my mom helped me get. I don't think I would be able to go through these gates without her. That's what I was thinking. So the next day, I started praying a lot, and I started telling everybody about my story and how good God was to me. Some people didn't want to hear it, but I kept pushing some people. I had my friend Kamar, I told him about it, and he was like, wow, that's crazy. I never experienced anything like that all the times I went to the Fruganov, and he was like, but you'll probably get back to normal after some time. When I did it the first time, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm gonna take a break. But then I got back to normal, and you'll probably go back eventually. And I was like, nah, man, I don't think it can be the same after what I saw. I don't think it will ever be the same. And from then, he continued smoking, and there was this one time, we went to a party. Before that, he had a party called the farewell party, because I kept pushing him. I was like, man, we gotta stop smoking weed. Like, it takes so much and it doesn't give anything. It takes our time, it took the relationship with the parents, it distracts us from what we're trying to do, it takes our money. There's nothing good that it does for you. And yeah, he threw a party called the farewell party, where he wanted us to all do the last drugs before we get them out of our system. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not smoking again. I already got it out of my system. I don't want to do it anymore. And he was like, all right, I'm still gonna do it. And I was like, sure, whatever. If you say that this is the last time you're doing it, I'll just let you do it. I'm not gonna do it though. So he did and he said it was out of his system that night. And He told me, that night he told me, he said, that was on Wednesday. He said, on Friday, we're going to go to this party at Bliss. And I was like, okay, we can do that, we can do that. Bliss is a nightclub, it's out of Baltimore or something. Nick, have you heard of it?
Nick pleads the fifth.
All right, so he told me we're going to go to Bliss. It's just a normal nightclub. So we started on Friday. Friday came, and I picked them up, and then they sent me an address for the party. And we started, as I was driving them there, I was like, so who's paying for my ticket to get into the nightclub? And he was like, what do you mean? What nightclub? And I was like, Bliss, the nightclub that we're going to right now. And then I was like, wait, we're not going to Bliss? What's the address that you sent me? And he was like, what are you talking about, Bliss? I've never even heard of Bliss before. We're going to a party. And I was like, what? Did you not tell me that we were going to Bliss the other night? And he was like, I don't remember saying anything like that. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll just go to this party with you. So we went to that party. Oh my God. When we walked in the party, like even before you walked, it was in a hotel. It was like in DC. And when you walked in before you got in the hotel, once you got out of the elevator to that floor, you just smelled weed. That's all you could smell. Then you walked up to the door, you opened the door, it was just people in there, just everyone was smoking in there. It was crazy.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there. Everyone was in there just smoking. It was ridiculous to me. I walked in and I walked straight to the bathroom because I didn't want to inhale any of that stuff. And my friend came in, Kamar. This is like 2 days after that farewell party that he told me that he was gonna stop smoking that. And he came in the bathroom with me and he started asking people if they had anything so he could roll with. And I was like, well, what do you mean? What do you need something to roll with? Didn't you say that the farewell party was the last time? And he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be smoking anymore, but this is a party. Like people smoke at parties. And I was like, bro, what do you mean? Are you weak? Is your will that weak? Like you just can't stop? And he was like, bro, I can stop, but this is a party. And I was telling him I'm disappointed in you, man. I thought you controlled it, not the other way around. And so whatever, he smoked, and I kept telling him that I want to leave. I was like, I think I'm gonna leave now. I don't feel right here. This is not the place that I should be if I want to stop smoking. And I stayed in the bathroom. It's like everyone was in there was high or drunk off something. And eventually I was just like, man, I'll just stay in here. These guys are having fun, whatever. I'll just stay here. I just won't smoke. I had a bottle of water. I just kept drinking my water. And I noticed something. It's like, while we were in the party, everyone that was either drunk or high off of anything they say when they do it, they said they want to do it to get lit. But the lit that they get isn't real. It's an illusion in their head. They think that they're really enjoying stuff, but if you look at them, they'll just be sitting around without energy or something on their phones or anything. There was music playing. I was the one dancing. I was having the most energy just off the water. Everybody was recording me dancing. I was like, yeah, having fun. And I was just looking at everybody who was trying to get lit off of the drugs. And I was just there. That night I called my mom. I was like, I was using my dad's car. I was like, if I come home and your car is smelling like weed, it's because I was in here and everybody here is smoking weed. I didn't smoke anything. It was like 12 a.m. when I was calling them. I was letting them know because I didn't have any secrets from them at this point. I'm telling them everything about it. And I was like, I'm just gonna stay here though, just because I'm trying to prove a point to them. And like during the party, like I kept drinking. I drank like 8 bottles of water. I kept filling it up with a gallon he had. At some point, the guy who was hosting the party, he was like, man, you can't finish all my water. If you want water, you gotta get it from the bathroom. I was like, all right. I mean, I love water. I'll just go drink the bathroom water. It's okay. And so, at some point, I went in the bathroom. I posted myself on social media, and I posted on my story on Snapchat. I said, do you guys know that story about those 3 guys that got thrown in a furnace and they didn't get burned because God was surrounding them? But then the people that threw them in went in there afterwards and they got burnt. They immediately got burned. That's how I felt that night because I went into the furnace where everyone was burnt off of the drugs and stuff, but I didn't get burned. I was clean the whole night just off the water. And my friend Kamar, man, I was lit. He saw me just having fun, and I kept telling him, I was like, man, you don't need that drink, you need this drink, you need some water. And he was like, man, that's not gonna do anything for me. But at some point, his mouth got dry because he kept smoking, and it was hot in there. So he was like, oh, I think you're right. Can you get me some water? I was like, I only have this one bottle. And he was like, he said, well, there's some cups over there. Can you get me a water? And I was like, oh, you want some water? I was like, no, I'm not getting you any water. If you want water, get it yourself. Prove it to me that when you're off the drugs and off the drink, you can do what I can do. And he sat there a little upset. He was like, And then like 5 minutes later, he asked me again. He said, can you get me some water? And I was like, bro, I am not getting you water. If you think that you can do good while you're off this stuff, go get yourself a water. I've poured it in this bottle 8 times. You can pour it in a cup at once. And so Kamar got up, went over there, poured himself a water. And we were there. We were at the party for a little bit. And then at some point it got shut down because the police were there. And so we just started heading back to the car. And the people I was with was Kamar, his brother, and one of his friends whose name was Juan. Juan saw me having a good time and stuff, and he kept asking me, he was like, why are you so lit? I kept saying, it's just because of God and water, man. That's all that is doing for me. And I don't know, he's a little skeptical about the God situation. So he doesn't really believe it that much. So, but I keep trying to push him. I kept telling him. So when we were in the car back, I kept telling him, I kept saying, God is so great, man. This water is so great. You saw how good I was and how lit I was in there without any of the stuff that you need. And he didn't believe me. I kept trying to tell him to stop smoking, but he doesn't want to stop at all. And then when we were in the car, he just kept saying stuff. He was like, man, he kept saying some stuff like he didn't like me or something. He was like, man, I hate you. I'll cut your ear off right now. And I was like, you mean like that guy in the Bible? And when he said that, we had this weird conversation. We were like, I said, like, Jesus cut that guy's ear off, and then one of my friends next to me was like, no, Jesus didn't cut his ear off. Some guy cut off Peter's ear, and then Jesus healed it. And then someone else was like, no, Judas cut off Judas cut off the soldier's ear, and then Jesus healed it. And I was like, we were all like, yeah, that sounds right. So wait, keep that in mind. The conclusion we came to was Judas cut off a soldier's ear, and then Jesus healed it. I'll come back to that later, but just keep that in mind. And so he kept saying weird stuff. Juan kept telling me weird stuff, but then at some point, I need your phone. Keep in mind, Juan doesn't have me on social media or anything, but he said something like, he said, have you guys ever heard of the story about the 3 guys that got thrown in a furnace and they didn't get burnt? And I was like, Juan, what? Wait, say that again? I was like, say what you said again. And then I was like, he said it again. I said, Juan, you don't follow me on Snapchat or anything. He was like, no. I was like, look at my Snapchat right now. Add me on Snapchat. And I was driving, and he was like, I need you to show it to me. And I was like, I can't show you, I'm driving. And I told Kamar, I was like, Kamar, just read my story out loud. Just go on my story and read what's on there. And then Kamar's being over there pretty drunk and high and stuff. I was like, he went on Instagram. He's like, what's your Instagram name again? I said, I'm not talking about Instagram, man. Get on Snapchat. Look at my Snapchat story. So he read it. And he said, when he started reading it out loud, he said, do you remember the guys that got thrown in the furnace? And when he read that, he said, it's like something clicked in his mind. And he was like, there's no way that's a coincidence right there. That must mean that God must have, this is too much to be a coincidence. And he's like, I think you're right about God. He said, I probably, I was like, man, you don't know how much that means to me right now. I was so happy that he told me that. I was so happy. It meant so much to me. And then later on that night, because I didn't believe him when he told me that he was going to stop smoking, but later on, I dropped everyone home. I was about to go into my bed to go to sleep, and then he called me. He said, Sonny, something weird's going on. I'm lying in my bed, and I can't figure out why it smells like weed. I don't know why it smells like weed in here. And I was like, I didn't tell him anything. I was just thinking, I was like, probably because we came from a party and you smoked and your clothes are smelling like weed. But then I didn't say that. I was just thinking it. Then he told me, he said, I didn't, my hands don't smell like weed, and I took off my clothes before I got on the bed, so I don't know why it's smelling like weed. And then he said, I put my hand under my blanket, and then there's just like a gram of weed right there. And then he showed it to me on the camera. We were FaceTiming, and I was like, the first thing I thought in my head was, that's a test. This is a test. You're being tested. Throw that weed in the toilet. I didn't say that to him though. I just thought it. I was just thinking it. I was like, let me just keep my mouth shut. I want to see what he said. And he told me, the exact words he told me was, I don't know who put it here, so So I'm just gonna assume that this is a test, and I'm gonna go flush this down the toilet. And when he said that, I was like, you just said exactly what I was thinking. That's God working in your life, man. And he went over to the toilet and flushed it away. I was so happy when that happened. I was so excited. Man, I stayed up the whole night that night just telling everybody about how God was working and how I think that God wants me to just share with everybody what's going on in my life and try and bring people closer to Him. I did not go to sleep that night. I was just trying to talk to all random people. And I had somebody I met somebody on Instagram who had a username that said something so crazy. It said something like, I love Satan or something like that. And I don't even follow this person. I just followed them and sent them a message. I said, hi, I think your username is a little weird. I think I want to make you change your mind about that name. And she said, I don't want my mind to be changed. And I was like, but I think God wants me to help you change something in your life. And I was like, I'm not going to stop trying unless you block me. And then she unadded me. And I was like, oh, I felt like I failed or something. But then I could still message her even though she didn't unadd me. So the next morning I messaged her again. I was like, hi, I'm still here, still trying. And yeah, that's all I sent her that day. But then the next morning, I was telling everyone in my house, I woke up, I didn't go to sleep. I was telling everyone in my house how good God was. And Cameron, my brother, must have overheard it or something. He's right over there. Because that morning, I was telling my mom about everything that happened. She told me to go to sleep because I didn't go to sleep at all. It was like 9 in the morning. She was like, go to sleep, you're tired. So I went into my bed. I was about to go to sleep. Then Cameron walks into my room with a Bible. And he was like, can I read the Bible with you? And I was like, yeah, man, I will never say no if you ask me that. I was like, that was great. I felt like I must have been making a difference or something. So he came, and the scripture that he read to me, it was like, okay, do you remember how I told you guys that we came to the conclusion that Judas cut off the guy's ear and Jesus healed it? I was so certain that Judas cut off the ear. And then he came and read a book. He read the passage to me. It said Peter cut off the soldier's ear, and then Jesus healed it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. That brings me to my first point. God works in mysterious ways. Right. God works in mysterious ways. I couldn't even understand it. After that, I was just so sure. I was like 100% sure. Like now, at this point, I have no doubt that God is real. Like I used to say the worst things about Him. I used to say like God is not real. I don't believe it. I used to say that stuff all the time just out loud, and now I don't understand. It's like He still loves me, even though I was so rude to Him. But He still loves me, and He's given me a second chance. I've been reborn. I can do anything. Everything in my life just became better since I accepted Him. It's been 31 days since I last smoked, and I'm not going back. I plan to go. I know for a fact this whole 2019 I'm not going to smoke at all. That's my goal. I'm not going to do that at all. That's it. Amen. And so back to the girl who said I love Satan as her name. 3 days later, I kept talking to her, and then she came to the conclusion. She said, I think you might be right. I think God actually sent you to talk to me because I've been going through some stuff or something. And she started telling me that, and I got her to change her name to something else that wasn't that eventually, and I got her to believe that God was real. She started praying and stuff now, and yeah, I felt like I really did good in her life and stuff.
Yeah.
How am I doing on time?
Very bad.
All right, so basically, I just wanted to say God works in mysterious ways. Nothing in here, nothing on this earth is above Him. It's like, and He'll always love you no matter what you do.